Yo, what is up? We've got boys on the bench. All three are here talking some college football. Today is Monday. Today is finally the day where they have released the top AP 25, following kind of a fantastic week, arguably one of the best weeks in what we've had in college football in quite a while. So that was definitely exciting. But more importantly, we've got some bets that we're going to be giving y'all from Daily Grind Fantasy as well. But as always, kicking it off, I wanted to kind of check in on you boys to see how y'all are doing. Wanted to make sure that we're rocking and rolling.
No, going good. It's Monday night, man. We got some Monday night show going on, Monday Night Football with the Jets and the Bills, and man, it's crazy right now. I mean, they're under 4 minutes, and Aaron Rodgers is looking the part. He's looking good. You know, it's been a year since we haven't seen him, right? He comes out and literally has an Achilles injury right there and ends his whole season. You know, there's just this big thing. We couldn't wait to see Aaron Rodgers in a new uniform, and then this happens. But now it's good to see him back. He got a Hail Mary. It's his fifth one in his career. So, man, he's always doing something historic out there. You know, it's definitely fun to watch. And so got the game going. You can see it now as we're doing this podcast, and it's definitely a fun one.
It is good to see him finally get that rolling again. I was upset, a Green Bay Packers fan. I was upset to see that happen.
We're all good over here. You know, we're coming off a good weekend. You know, Texas came out on top in the Red River rivalry, baby. There's not much to complain about. You know,
dude,
we're doing good over here.
Does anyone else struggle trying to say that the Red River rivalry? I feel like every time I say it, it's like Red River Sabbath. You know,
Red River rivalry. I don't. I was just. I
feel like you threw a W in there somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
Red River
rivalry.
It's not, but Nathan, it's not you. It's not you. It's literally just the rivalry in itself. But
it gives everybody a speech impediment.
Right.
3 R's.
I also wanted to give a shout out to my boy Opie. This has been my ride or die. This is my youngest of my 2 pups. He just had his 7th birthday. This is kind of
been 7 years.
It is a crazy concept. I know y'all are very familiar with my man Opie, but yeah, he's the youngest of 2. Rocky's 8, or he's gonna be 8 in a month, and then Opie just turned 7. It's insane.
Hey, I'll tell you this right now. If I had to pick between one of your 2 dogs, I'm rocking with Opie, because I remember when you got Rocky, that little sumbitch would crawl underneath the bed and bite the shit out of my Achilles tendons. I was just like, bro, oh my God almighty, dude. He was a little puppy. He'd crawl underneath the bed, and then you'd be sitting down and put your feet on the carpet, and he just.
Yeah, Rocky. Damn it. Rocky got real crackhead energy. Opie's not so much that, but I just wanted to kind of touch on that. So I just wanted to tell you, happy birthday, my boy. Love you. Hopefully there's many, many, many more years to come for you, and that's all I wanted to say. So happy birthday, buddy. Anyways, though.
Happy birthday, Opie dog.
Yeah.
If you're a cat person, I don't know how you're not a dog person now.
Yeah, all right. That's what I'm saying. It's all about Ope. It's all about
Who's throwing birthday parties for cats?
No, not a whole lot of people, right?
Not me.
I mean, I don't think
I'm
I don't have the whereabouts to do that, because I don't currently own a cat. Oh, here we go though. Daily Grind Fantasy. So anyways though, if you did want to use our code BENCH to get 25% off of your first month, that is linked down in the description. And guys, this is the AI slip generated tool. As you can see, we already have 10 slips already created out through Daily Grind Fantasy. What Daily Grind Fantasy does is they go ahead and quickly scan the market for you, seeing what exactly are the best plays to be taking. As you can see here, plenty of plays right now with multiple different data points for you. And that's exactly what we can be doing. Right now, we see that the underdog board is absolutely loaded. We're seeing some really good plays here for underdog. Let me give a quick refresh before I start trying to build this out, and it's not working for us, but it is. So all we have to do, guys, is we see exactly what they're telling us. Chuba Hubbard for the Carolina Panthers. I believe this is a Thursday night football game. Maybe. I could be wrong. But anyways, though, we're looking at him to go under 66.5 rushing yards. All we have to do is copy his name over, and then we're going to go to Underdog Fantasy, and that's exactly where we're going to go ahead and start building out all of these slips. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Underdog. I know y'all can't see that screen. But I'm going to go to Chuba Hubbard, go under his 66.5 rushing yards. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go Tom Wilson. And we're looking for him to go under his points as well. Now, I will be dropping this slip down into the chat for you. So if you wanted to tell this, you absolutely could. That is the purpose of this. We want to not only show you how to be a profitable sports bettor, but also provide you slips where you can be profitable sports bettors as well. So now we have these two NHL's plays with players going under on their goals. But now we are on Trevor Lawrence going under 0 or 1.5 passing touchdowns, which we're not seeing that currently available just yet. So we weren't able to grab that one, but what I will do is go ahead and see if we can grab these other two. We couldn't get the Xiphon, and let's see if we can get Tyron Taylor. If we can't build any out of this value out, that's fine. More stuff will start to come up as we go through it. So let me give a quick refresh on this, and maybe these just have not uploaded because didn't see the Trevor Lawrence passing touchdowns. I'll check again. But if that is the case, yeah, he's not there. We're not seeing a whole lot of other plays. Let me see what this 3-leg parlay is. Chuba Hubbard, Tom Wilson. Oh, I think we were able to get that. Tom Wilson. And yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. This is a 6X payout. That's what I'll do for y'all. And then I'll go ahead and drop that link there in the chat for y'all as well. So here is the link. And that is dropped in there for y'all as well. Now, I know that kind of what Dalton and Nathan are very, very excited about right now is a little bit of college football talk. So we'll come back to this, see if we can get this Daily Grind Fantasy board to clear up a little bit. I'll even drop a Fliff play in here for y'all. Fliff, I won't be able to drop a quick tell link for y'all, but we'll see what we can do. So we'll let this board kind of clear up. We use a lot of these good plays, but Chuba Hubbard, the reason that we're getting such good value on that, we can see right now, Underdog has listed this at 66.5. Parlay Play has listed this at 51.5. Great middling opportunity. What I mean by that is if you go over to Parlay Play, take the over 51.5 on Parlay Play, but the under 66.5 on Underdog, and he hits somewhere in between that. If he lands with 52 or 60, anywhere from 52 to 66, you win on both sides. So great middling opportunity. You can also pair that with the Andy Dalton play as well. So anyways, we'll see what this board ends up giving us as we end up coming back to it. But what I did want to do, go to the college football rankings and what we currently have. Pretty big games. Nathan already mentioned it. So we can kind of look at that one and talk about that. But that is the Texas Longhorns, Oklahoma Sooners. As you can see here, Texas 34-3 manhandled this team.
And we looked bad doing it.
They were probably dude, watching that game, what is the deal with Arnold and why is Arnold not starting?
Garbage. Did you not see him in the Tennessee game?
Well, then how have they been so ranked? I mean, he had one bad game, and how are we not keeping this man? Or I don't. If it's that bad, and you have to throw in a true freshman at your starting quarterback, why was this team ranked 18th in the first place?
They had a good defense. Oklahoma has a good defense.
They're one of the top defenses in the country.
I get it, but
you don't think about Oklahoma having good defenses. You don't. You always, when you think of Oklahoma football, you think of high-powered offenses that can score at any point on the field at any time. That is not the case this year. It has swapped. Oklahoma's defense is really good. Texas won this football game because of we were able to keep Oklahoma's defense on the field for the majority of the game. Texas did not play well offensively. Ewers struggled extremely bad in the first half. He missed wide open throws that he usually makes. So Texas was just able to keep Oklahoma's defense on the field and just wear them out. That's what happened.
I mean, yeah.
Oklahoma has a good defense. They can compete with anybody out there in college football. I will say honestly, Oklahoma probably is one of the hands down best defenses out there.
Texas has the number one defense. Let's just throw that out there.
Well, and I was saying with Oklahoma, I feel like with this Texas game, the way it was going and the way they were getting back there on Quinn, they made him look incredibly uncomfortable. Like he did not look poised at all. And so I feel like if Oklahoma's offense, where DJ, you were talking about with their true freshman quarterback they have, he looks like, he's poised. He looked everything that Quinn wasn't but he could not capitalize at all. Like both quarterbacks just weren't playing very good to start the game. Oklahoma's defense was playing really good, but their offense just couldn't capitalize on the moments that it needed to in that first quarter. And I think if they could have capitalized, this game could have been a lot tighter than it should have been. But because Texas's defense was also keeping up par with Oklahoma's defense, Texas's offense was just able to get things rolling before Oklahoma could. And I just don't think Oklahoma could. I know Nathan and I talked about this earlier. You could play a lot of what ifs. I don't like playing that game, but I do know that Oklahoma had a very big injury report that come out. I think they were missing like 12 players in this game. Texas was missing 3, and they were all running backs. So to Nathan's point, their running backs, they had virtually almost nobody at the running back position. I mean, like nobody. But they still had all the receivers at their disposal, and they had Quinn Ewers. But Oklahoma was missing like 2 starting receivers. They had 5 missing receivers total, 2 of their starting defensive backs. Like they had a lot missing. But their defense is too good, so it didn't really matter anyways on the 2 defensive backs, I feel like. But yeah, they had a lot missing on that offensive side with the true freshmen. I just don't think there's any way this offense could keep up with that high-powered defense for Texas as well. I just don't think they even had a shot to begin with, even though they had the defense to get it done. The offense just couldn't do nothing.
This is the last thing I'll say on it, and then we'll move on because there were some other pretty big college football games that happened that I also want to make sure that we get to. But I was looking back over Oklahoma's team stats. They've only had 1 game this year of the 6 games that they've played where they've had over 350 yards of total offense in a game. This is games that include them beating Tulane 34-19, still didn't have 350 total yards of offense, beat Auburn. I think they had sub 300, maybe even sub 350. Tennessee, they didn't play well versus Tennessee. I think they had 222, and then versus Texas, this offense is not good. I guarantee you, the rest of their schedule in the SEC, they've got South Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. They won't. I don't know if they'll win another one of these games. So my thing is,
there's a high possibility that they won't.
No, and like they're going to get smoked, and like it sucks because
of your defense. That's the thing. It's not because of your defense. Well, at the end of the game, it might be because of your defense, but that's because when Oklahoma, their offense can't be on the field long enough to get their defense the break that they need.
No, I get it, dude. I'm a Baylor fan. Believe me, I get it wholeheartedly. Except it's the reverse. Like it's the exact same. Our offense can't get going. Our defense is so good, but our offense can't get going. It's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They're bound to score a lot of points anyways. But it's 18. 18 was a crazy concept for me. But the next game that was on here, probably my favorite game of the weekend, and that was Ohio State versus the Oregon Ducks. This game ended.
I think that was everybody's
frenzy. Like. No,
it was a fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, and Will Howard. I
don't know. That Ole Miss LSU game was pretty damn good.
It was. It went to overtime. LSU was able to come back from that. Which that was a fun game. But I think that this was the game going into Saturday. I was definitely the most excited. If y'all are joining in the chat, let us know also what was your favorite game from this past weekend. We're kind of just doing a brief overview, looking over these games. But I think that like kind of again, what was wild in all of that was how Will Howard just didn't throw the ball away, didn't throw the ball at all, and that was it. He slid at the very end of the play thinking that he had plenty of time left. Clock ran out. Biggest bonehead mistake that there was.
Okay, but what's the play of the game? What's the play of the game?
What do you mean?
What was the play of the game in this game? What was it?
I feel like there's a lot. Is there one in particular that's calling out to you?
One in particular.
You name it.
Dan Lanning.
What did Dan?
He's the reason they won this football game. Did you not see the 12-man penalty?
Oh, I did. Are you saying that's intentional?
Smart play call. Yes, that was intentional. That was super intentional. What do you mean? He gave up 5 yards to burn 5 seconds. It was smart. It was smart. He literally snuck him on the field so that he could get the penalty. They got the penalty. Okay, Ohio State got 5 yards. But at the same point in time, Ohio State lost 5 seconds doing that. It was smart. He did it on purpose. That was intentional.
I guess I
How
had.
much time were
It essentially won on the football game. The next play, slides, runs out of time, can't call a timeout, kick the field goal.
I guess
it was intentional.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. I mean, if that is actually the case and what it actually came down to, that is actually kind of wild.
No, it is.
Let's be real.
Landon
fucked up, and his fuck up turned into a genius.
Yeah.
Turned into a genius play.
No, he knew what he was doing. He was pushing him out there. He knew exactly what he was doing. He did it on purpose.
I wouldn't push it past him. He probably did know what he was doing, but that's crazy.
It's not illegal though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not illegal. It's not a dead ball foul.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's many ways that a coach can do things. Even what would look really, really dumb to fans watching the game is actually a very strategic, very smart move from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, all the Oregon fans are up in the stands like, are you fucking kidding me? But like, they're on the sidelines. Dan Lanning is pumped. Like, hey, I'm trading 5 yards for 5 seconds. It was smart. It won in the football game.
I mean, how degrading would that have been if it doesn't work out for you? You
don't have to think about that because
like he just. I mean, yeah, you don't, but I don't know. That had actually been kind of crazy. Nathan, though, the game that you said that you were obviously the most excited about, that was the Ole Miss LSU game where we see.
I was most excited about Texas Oklahoma. Let's just get that.
Oh well, outside of your biases, sure.
You know what? I'll be more excited about Ole Miss and LSU. I'll be more excited about that one. Yeah, fuck it.
That was a hell of a football game. I don't know how Ole Miss lost this football game. Is Ole Miss just?
I'll tell you what, LSU's fucking good. Like if you think about it, fucking since what's his name? Who just got there to coach? I get his name. Who? Wait, Brian? Yeah, Kelly. Ever since he got there, he is now 8-0 for night games at home.
Is he really?
He's now 8-0. Yeah. Since he's been there, his night games at Death Valley are now 8-0. He hasn't lost.
Going to Lubbock at night. You don't want to do it. Weird shit happens there at night.
I heard that shit on SEC Network there, on SEC Nation before, like that morning, before that game that night. And when I heard that, I literally took LSU's money line.
So you're telling me that the only way that LSU can win football games at home is if it's played at night?
No, I'm just saying that when they tell me that, there's an edge. That doesn't mean it's going to win. I just know that there's an edge there. And when you're playing at home and you get Brian Kelly there, it just seems like there's just magic that happens in the air that night. And so sometimes that's sometimes the difference. That's literally a 3-point. That's literally a 3-point difference right there. And I think a lot of it has to do with the stadium. I would say that the LSU fans won that game that night. So I mean, Death Valley is hard to win at night. It's much different to play there during the day, but at night it is different.
Yeah,
there's a few things like looking at this top 25 too. It's like I don't know. We'll have to get into it because I have a few questions for y'all about it. But go ahead, DJ. What were you gonna say?
Well, no, I was just saying like look at the implications that this had. I mean, even just losing to LSU, you see Ole Miss, who was previously 9, drop down all the way to 18. So. And then, like, even the previous games, like when we were talking about Texas OU becomes unranked, rightfully so, because that was such a shit show of a performance.
Yeah, it's bad. Oklahoma shouldn't be ranked the rest of the year.
Yeah, I do like what they did with the Ohio State and Oregon, where Oregon moves up 1 from 3 to 2. Ohio State drops from 2 to 4. I think that they're still a top 4 team.
Do you think Oregon should be number 1?
The only reason that I'm going to say yes, and Nathan, I struggle with this because if I'm being completely honest, I think the team that I'm rooting for the least this year is the Texas Longhorns. And it's just because, and that's fine. And that's probably well deserved. But the only reason that I say that I'm rooting against the Longhorns more so this year than anything else is because y'all do have a good team. I will say that I'm jealous of what y'all have, but I also want to say that like, what y'all had last year in terms of recruiting, very good. Even the year prior, very good. Y'all couldn't even win the Big 12. You know what I mean? And then it's like all of a sudden you join the SEC, and it's like, hey, we the top dogs in the house now.
Okay, but hold on. How many years has Sark been at Texas? Because you got to remember when Sark came into Texas, He got handed Tom Herman's football team. In Sark's first year, we lost to Kansas, bro. Kansas.
No, and that's what I'm saying though. Like I know that he's got to have a
But
couple years
Sark,
under him.
yeah, you're seeing that effect now. So when Sark took the Texas job, he was told this is going to be an SEC program. You need to recruit, as in you're going to build an SEC program. Sark has literally took what he learned from Dalton's going to like this. Dalton or not Dalton, Sark has take what he learned from Saban and took it to Texas. That's essentially what happened.
The only reason I can back that up with Nathan and say that that is true is because Alabama basically fucking migrated to fucking Texas after Saban left. They basically got all of our best fucking 5 stars that were supposed to stay one more year with Bama fucking went to Texas. I mean, you got Isaiah Bond, you got Nye Black. I mean, you got some pretty good fucking players that fucking left Bama that were supposed to be leaders for our team last year and flocked to Texas to be with Sarkisian because that's the best they can get for the Bama standard. I mean, he knows what the Bama standard is. And fucking, Kalen DeBoer coming in, never played a fucking down the SEC, comes in. They're like, oh, hell no. This dude's not even an SEC coach. He doesn't even know what the SEC is. So they leave. They're like, yeah, he's a winning coach, but he doesn't know what Bama is. Well, at least Sarkisian's been there. So like, I can definitely agree with Nathan there, and it makes sense why like Bond and Nye Black and some of these other players left Bama to go there, and so that's why I think it wasn't so much them. I think them joining the SEC, to DJ's point, did help a lot. I think if they didn't join the SEC, I really don't know if Bond and Isaiah and Nye Black and all these other players actually even go to Texas. That's a great discussion to have at a later date. But if they don't join the SEC, I think they go probably to Ole Miss because the play with Lane Kiffin. To be honest, because he was, other than Sarkisian, it might be Lane Kiffin that might have that prior knowledge of what it was at Saban. But I think Sarkisian, if you're asking me, if I would much rather go to Sarkisian than Lane Kiffin. I mean,
Sark's one of the best offensive play callers in college football, and he's done extremely well at Texas. But before Sark, how many times did you hear people say Texas is back? Texas is back
every year,
but they're not actually back. But we're not actually back. I think it's safe to say that the culture has changed in Texas, and Texas might actually be back.
No, and and that's what I'm saying. I agree, and because like what y'all have built is scary, but y'all also, and I say this, and it's probably because I'm in just denial about a lot of
help.
That does help a lot. Like there's got to be some sort of regulations.
The 1 and 2 teams are the best. I think the 1 and 2, ranked 1 and 2 teams have the most NIL money in all college football. I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
Well, let's just say, and I was just about to say that. Let's just say that Texas and Oregon, now that the NIL came in and pretty much ruined all the college football, it pretty much affected everybody. But I think Texas and Oregon are the ones that are going to come out on top of this forever. I mean, it's not going to change anything. I think Texas and Oregon will be the teams that will always forever be at the top because of the NIL.
Yeah. No,
well, let's go down one more spot though. I don't like Penn State at 3.
Why?
I disagree with that. I think they're fraudulent.
Yeah.
I think they're fraudulent.
I don't think they're not going to say it. They're not going to stay at 3.
No.
There's no way because they got to play Ohio State still. But how the fuck did Penn State get away with not playing fucking Michigan and Oregon this year?
They're probably how the hell did we get away with not playing Michigan?
The same way A&M got out of playing Alabama and LSU.
Yeah, but in the Big Ten, like I get the SEC because the SEC there's so many good teams that it's like sometimes you're just not going to play certain teams, right? You're just not. I mean, I would love to see Alabama play Texas again this year. I would love to see, not saying they would, but I'm saying during the regular season. But it's just not going to happen, right? But like for the Big Ten, there's only so many good teams, and I feel like you have to, like, in order for the Big Ten to really pull that audience and to really pull people to watch the Big Ten, like you gotta have Michigan playing Penn State, you gotta have fucking Ohio and Oregon, and you gotta have those 4 teams playing each other. They have to be all playing each other.
The more teams you have in the playoffs, the more money you get as a conference. They're gonna try to put They're top tier teams in the playoffs. How do you prevent that? You don't let Penn State play Michigan and Oregon. You don't make Ohio State have to play Oregon, Michigan. Well, I mean, Ohio State is playing Oregon, Michigan, and Penn State, so they got the short end of the stick. But I mean, the way that Big Ten's looking at it is like Dalton said, you only have a handful of teams that are really, really good. How do you get them in the playoffs? Well, don't make them play each other if they don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what they're doing.
That is fair because there's 16 teams now in the SEC. I guarantee you that this is going to come down to about a 3-way tie. Or maybe one team is going to be undefeated in the SEC, and they're going to be like, okay, well, they're obviously going to get into the SEC championship. But then there's probably going to be about 2 to 3 teams who are all tied for that second place based off of record.
Well,
and it's going to be like,
that's what we were talking
about.
Who do you put in? Who do you put in the SEC championship, right? Because look, listen to this. Listen to this. Say Texas beats Georgia Saturday, right? And Texas wins out. They go all the way. Say they go to College Station, and they lose to A&M. A&M wins out. Alabama wins out. Georgia wins out. Who the hell do you put in the SEC championship?
Well, Georgia would then have 2 SEC losses. So Georgia would be out because just based off of record alone.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because they would
Texas
have a lot.
Beat them. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it would be between, it would literally be between.
You have a 2-loss A&M team, but their 1 loss is Notre Dame. So who do you put in? You put in A&M or do you put in Alabama to play Texas?
It's going to be based off of your SEC record. And that's what I'm saying. Your A&M's SEC record would be undefeated. So A&M would be going to the SEC championship. So then it's like, but who is it? So then it's just
who gets in over Texas and Bama? It's going to be a coin flip, right? Because if Texas wins out, Bama wins out, and A&M loses to Texas, now you have a 1-loss A&M team.
Yeah. No, and like
that's why I don't
understand. I
don't. Some fan base is going to be pissed.
Yeah, they thought that they were doing a really good justice of like the 12-team playoffs, which I love. I love that they did it, but then by them consolidating down into all of these other conferences, it's like, okay, well now what you've done is you have opened up a whole new can of worms because now not only at the conference level are you leaving teams out of playing in conference championship, which could be an automatic bid into the playoffs, but then now all of a sudden, once you get to whoever the winners are of these conference championships, now you've got to determine, okay, now who are going to be the teams in. Every week, that committee is just going to be getting railed by whoever it is because it's. I mean, the Big Ten is going to be in the same situation when they're going to have an Oregon and Ohio State and Penn State. Like they're going to have 3 or 4 teams. I think it's either the SEC or the Big Ten. I think they've got so many top teams ranked in the top 10.
The conference that's going to get, the ACC. The only team getting in the ACC is whoever wins the ACC championship game. I don't.
No, okay, but listen to this.
I could see Clemson's balling out. Miami's balling out.
Right, like let's see this.
Clemson got mollywalked by Georgia week 1, and Georgia doesn't look like they're consistent.
I mean, they're playing good ball, but they're not very consistent. I mean, neither is Bama. But the cool thing about NCAA football, about college football, is it's not so much, and we've seen this before, and I don't think it's going to change much this year. It's better to lose a game earlier in the season than it is to lose late. It's going to be a matter of who's playing great later. And Georgia and Bama definitely better get their shit figured out, or they're going to be fucking toasted. I'll tell you that right now.
That's what I was going to ask
you. If Bama loses one more game, we're done. I mean, I thought we were done last week against South Carolina, and to be honest, Bama came out fucking firing all cylinders. I mean, they went at 14-0. They fucking were moving. Offense looked great. Defense was okay, but they were figuring their shit out. You could tell that South Carolina stole a bunch of fucking plays from Vanderbilt. We played fucking Vanderbilt 2.0. Fucking South Carolina said, scratch the whole fucking game plan. We're running Vanderbilt. Hey, I mean, he called Vanderbilt and said, give me your fucking playbook. Like, because, like, we got the same shit. Baby. And obviously, Kane Womack there, the defense coordinator for Bama, did not change a fucking thing for that team. I mean, they came out and played the same fucking way. I mean, Jalen Milroe, literally week in and week out, has literally been our saving grace every week. I mean, literally, because the defense gives up an average of 340 yards a game.
If
Good
nothing doesn't
Lord.
change,
Fucking Kane Womack, I'm going to tell you this right now, buddy. If you lose one more fucking game this year for Bama, you're on the hot seat. Your seat's already getting fucking warm. And if you lose one more, dude, you're probably fucking out of there. I don't see us making a fire. I don't see us making a fire in midseason, but after this season, there's going to be some discussions being made. And I'm not putting all this on Kalen DeBoer because our offense looks good. I mean, yeah, we struggle, but our
mistakes.
He's an offensive guy, and our offense looks pretty good. So I'm not putting our defense on Kalen DeBoer, but our defense has got to figure some shit out. And so I mean,
the 7th ranked team in the nation, though. I want you to be honest. Do you think y'all are worth being ranked 7th in the nation?
I'd say, like I said, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Us losing to Vanderbilt, we shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt, but we did. I'll take that on the chin. That day, they were the better team. However, if we lose to Vanderbilt, if we would have lost to Vanderbilt week 9, we're probably fucking done. But and say that was our only loss of the season. Like, people are going to be like, oh shit, like they're done. But because we lost to them now, we actually have time to fucking recover. As long as we win out, we'll be a top 5 team.
Well, and to y'all's defense as well, Dalton. I don't think y'all are at 7. I think y'all are a playoff team, but I don't think y'all are at 7. But if you see at the very bottom,
I don't think 7. I don't think 7 because of what we saw in the South Carolina game.
Yeah, well, and I'm saying though, I think that what's helping them is if you look at the very bottom where it says others receiving votes, Vanderbilt has received the first most votes, meaning that roughly the committee thinks that they're the 26th overall team. They've received 62 votes, or 68 votes. The next team was Nebraska, receiving 62 votes. So Vanderbilt has come in and they've proved themselves. This last week they went and beat Kentucky and on the road. So Dalton, you and me talked about this, like, yeah, and you and me talked about this last week. Like, I was shitting on Vanderbilt just because of how bad they've been previously. Like, I don't know anything about that team other than their history, but they actually look like a decent team. Like, currently, you can argue that, like, right now they're the 26th best team. I'm not sure who they've got coming up. Oh, they actually see their schedule right here. It's Ball State, so they should win versus Ball State, and then Texas the week after that. Texas. Yeah, and Texas has got to travel to Nashville.
What Bama needs, that's what I was going to say. What Bama needs is Vandy to keep it close against Texas. If Texas goes in and just beats the hell out of them, that's something that the committee has to look at too.
Yeah, but that's the thing too. That's also what Kane Womack and Kalen DeBoer were talking about for Bama. It's hard to fucking scout team a fucking triple option team. It's hard. It's hard to tell your defense, like, hey, we're going to face this fucking offense once this season. Fucking scout it. Like, it's hard to fucking bring a scout team offense out for a defense to play an offense that you know nothing about. So it's incredibly hard to prepare for. It's one of the hardest offenses to prepare for things like that because there's so much that you can do with it. And so for South Carolina, people are like, you almost lost to fucking South Carolina too. Like, holy shit. Well, it's like, well, they came out and fucking started running triple option type shit too. Like, they were running very similar fucking plays to Vanderbilt. And like, to Nathan's point, we talked about this earlier yesterday or before the show, but if South Carolina had a better quarterback, we probably would have seen the same thing happen to us that happened to Vanderbilt. The only difference is Pavlo or whatever, that quarterback for Vanderbilt, that dude's fucking good. The thing that got South Carolina was Stellar, or their quarterback they had there. Yeah, he just played like a freshman. He did.
He is so inaccurate. Yeah,
he's so inconsistent. But he is so inconsistent.
They came out and they literally ran the same shit as Vanderbilt. Like, well, for the most part, they kind of ran a modification of it, but like, that's what I'm saying with Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised next week Tennessee comes out and throws a couple wrinkles in there, very similar to what Vanderbilt and South Carolina ran against us, because why not? You see it in film. We struggle against it. Run it.
And that's a dangerous game. That's a big game for both of y'all. Both of y'all cannot afford to lose that football game.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, we've talked about
yeah.
we've talked about Texas and Alabama quite a while now. I don't want that to just turn into our whole night tonight is just these two teams.
One more thing.
Both of y'all just chomping at the bit to get these last words in.
I love college football, baby. Hey,
we still
one more
talk
question,
about
though.
it. We just can move on to a different team.
This is for both of y'all. Let's say, where is Clemson currently ranked at?
Clemson
10?
is 11.
All right, let's say
10, yeah.
let's say this. Let's say that Clemson loses one more game. Okay, let's just say they lose one more game, they drop down, I don't know, 20, right? And let's say they do somehow make it to the ACC championship game. They play fucking Miami, unranked Miami, and Clemson fucking beats them.
They have to put in. The committee already said it. They already said
right. So Clemson goes in, but let's say Miami at this point's unranked or undefeated, and they somehow get the 5. Are you going to drop them outside of the top 12? So does that mean now fucking Clemson and Miami both fucking slip in if fucking Clemson beats them?
I think it depends on how bad Clemson beats them because there's a couple of times like Miami should have lost to Cal. Miami should have lost to Virginia Tech. Are you going to sit here and tell me that you think Miami can go in and beat Texas and beat Oregon and beat Georgia?
That's the argument that we always have with the committee because how many times in the top 4 playoff teams did teams that were undefeated get slipped out and Bama fucking get slipped in with FSU? And people were like, well, they couldn't fucking beat Georgia. Well, guess what? Fucking Georgia played them and put fucking 50 on them. Like, that's what I'm saying. But now we're going to make these arguments with these 12 playoff teams. Miami's going to slip in with Clemson, and now we're going to be able to see them play these big schools like Ohio and Michigan and all these big schools.
I think
no, not Michigan. Fuck Michigan.
I think it depends on how bad. If Clemson does get into the ACC championship game and plays Miami, an undefeated Miami, and Clemson wins, I think it depends on how bad Clemson beats Miami. If Clemson beats Miami by 30 points, the committee's like, you're done, out. Nope, like you're not getting in. If Clemson beats Miami by 2 or 3 points, I think the committee will put Miami in. One of the other teams I'm really looking at. Two things I've been following. Number one, the Big 12 is wide the fuck open. And 2, that loss Boise State had to Oregon is looking pretty damn good right now.
Yeah. No, I mean 100%. Like that Boise State team is pretty good. Yeah, they're not.
I think Ashton Jeanty should win the Heisman over Travis.
Man, he's dude. Anytime you put that ball in his hands, he is a dog.
Okay, what about Shedeur Sanders? Really, y'all? He have him going as the number 1 quarterback going off in the NFL draft.
Dude, he throws the ball 70 times a game. He's gonna look good on paper. That's what me and DJ talked about. It's so irritating.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think he is a first round quarterback for sure. Just because he does seem a little bit more pro ready.
Round,
huh?
Yeah, first round for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't know
first overall. I can't say that either unless he flips it around. Like they play.
But what's crazy is they've got Jalen Milroe at number 2, but then they've got Quinn Ewers at 5.
Yeah, me and Nathan were kind of talking about this a little bit pre-show because I know that this weekend the text chain that the two of y'all were sending back and forth, and we don't have to get into it because I know that the two of y'all can talk about that for a hot minute. But it was just talking about basically the Panthers quarterback situation and how successful, Alabama quarterbacks are already. And I was like, man, honestly, I feel like it's just in general, like these players that play at really big schools and just have a loaded O-line, loaded wide receiver core, and then they get to the NFL, and then it's a much more level playing field. And it's like,
well, and if you look at it though, that is true. But if you do look, the only argument that I have, and I don't even know if it's that valid, is it seems like a lot of the Alabama quarterbacks don't go to great NFL teams. I mean, Mac Jones goes to the Patriots. You're like, fuck yeah, finally a good quarterback. Alabama goes to a good team. Fuck yeah. But then after Tom Brady was already gone, that team was trashed to begin with. It was a dumpster fire when Mac Jones walked in.
He was pretty good his rookie year.
I mean, he wasn't bad, and he was one of the most accurate passers for Alabama that's ever played there. but he just played for a dumpster fire team. And then you get Bryce Young going to fucking Panthers. They are arguably the worst fucking NFL team in the past 3 years. Like, they are ass. And then you've got who else? Jalen or Tua. He goes, but he actually has been playing great. I mean, I think he's a great franchise quarterback for the Dolphins. Goes to a great team and actually plays well. I mean, he's a top 10 quarterback every year. And then you've got
well against teams that are bad in the NFL.
I think he plays great. I think he does well. He's a top 10 quarterback fantasy wise for me.
That's the Dolphins' problem. They beat up on really bad teams, but can't beat the teams that are playoff teams.
Yeah, they're not. They're not clutch per se. But yeah, no, I do agree. But some games that did catch me off guard that you're not probably going to hear a lot of people talk about. Iowa State, and I was surprised to see Iowa State
wide open.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I was kind of going off of what you said, Nathan, but Iowa State going into West Virginia, which is no small feat at all. Like, going into West Virginia is a tough place to play. They ended up beating West Virginia by 12. Like, pretty big difference there. And I do like to see them Big 12 team representing in the top 10. You're not really seeing that a whole lot. Utah had their opportunity, lost a Friday night game. Now you see them drop out of top 25. They were in
the top 10.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they've dropped completely out. Tennessee hanging on by the skin on their back versus a bad Florida team, winning only 23-17.
Hold on. But Florida's been playing better as of late. They've been playing better. They were bad beginning of the season, but they're getting a little better.
Backhanded compliment, though.
They're still bad. Is Florida playing better, or are these teams that they're playing fraudulent? That's the real question.
Unless they're playing down to their level. But as of right now, Florida's been playing a lot better as of right now. Napier seems like he's finally the head coach there. It looks like he's finally getting things together. And that's not a bad head coach, but he has not done anything there. I mean, if Florida has a losing season this year, I think Napier's out of there. I really do. But I feel like they are playing better as we go along in the season.
There is no if they have a losing season, brother. They're gonna have.
I mean, hey, I'm on the same page as you, man. I'm literally reading the same book and the same pages. I feel like he's definitely. I mean, like I was saying, like Kane Womack, the defense coordinator for Alabama. I mean, if they don't get a lot of wins here for Florida this year, if they don't at least, I think even if they go 500, he's out. He
needs to start. He needs to start Lagway. I think he needs to start Lagway, but I don't. All this, we talk about all this and like teams in the SEC that are going to be left out, teams in the Big 10 that are going to be left out. The Big 12, you're probably they have the worst end of the stick because they're getting one team in. That's it. They're guaranteed.
Yeah,
and it's going to be the conference champion.
It will be, and it'll be. I mean, you could see BYU has been balling out. So you could see BYU sneak in there because I think it'll be between BYU and Iowa State, and if both of them continue to play at the current rate that they've been playing at, then I do see a situation where the two of them do get in there because, again, how college football works is it all depends on when your losses are in the season. And, again, like we said, with Alabama's loss to Vanderbilt, that came at the best time. It was pretty early on in conference play. Now they're able to recover. So again, with that, I think that Iowa State and BYU, we could see a situation where both of them end up. But I do agree. I think the safest bet is that one team gets in there.
The most surprising team on this top 25 list, who do you think it is?
Navy, baby. Or no, outside of Navy, the team above them, Michigan. But I love to see Navy and Army in there.
I love to see Army and Navy in. Awesome. I don't like seeing Michigan in, but right here at 21, boom, their first time ever in a Power 4 conference. SMU 5-1. First time playing the ACC. Don't even have an ACC deal. They had to pay the ACC to join the conference.
Yeah, so they're not even making money for 2 years.
They're making zero money. They paid the ACC to join the ACC, and they're ranked in the top 25.
Crazy world. I love it for them. I mean, they're gonna be getting recruits like crazy now, and I think that that's what you have to do. You have to, if you want to get out of those conference USAs, and like, you just have to say, you know what, I'm not going to make money for these next couple of years. It is what it is. Take it. I'm in the ACC. I'll get the recruits, and we'll start making buku bucks. And I think that's just what you have to do.
And one more thing, I totally agree with you, DJ. And one more thing I want to say before, and I'm done with college football talk if we want to for tonight. But can I just say that all three of us called it with Michigan this year before the season started? All three of us called it. We agreed on this, that Michigan was going to be bad, like dog bad this year. Now that they only had 4 returning starters this year out of everyone that's either left for the NFL draft or transferred, and the new head coach, and I was like, Michigan is not the same team they were last year. And when we said that, we got roasted so bad on our social media feed. I mean, everybody just totally disagreed with us. I get it. You're diehard Michigan fans. Why not? Defend your team to the death. Die on your hill. But dude, I could not be. I wouldn't say happier, but
more, I'm happy. I'd love to see it.
For us to be able to be able to this happen, and we knew it was coming. We saw this storm brewing, and it happened. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose 2 more games this year. I wouldn't. No.
They could probably lose to Illinois, but
I bet they lose 2 more, and they play Illinois at home. In Illinois.
Yeah.
So it's an away game for Michigan.
Me and DJ talked about that when we jumped on our stream, but also too, one of the things I wanted to ask y'all was like, it's like been the biggest topic in college football because this team, they're ranked 12th. They don't play in a conference. It's Notre Dame. Notre Dame, you come into the college football playoff, and the committee told them from the start, no matter what your record is or how good of a football team you are, you will never be in the top 4 until you get in a conference. Do you think at some point that Notre Dame has to jump into a conference? In football, correct me if I'm wrong. I most likely am wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they're in a conference in every other sport except for football.
I don't know. Actually, I can't. I can't speak to that.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they play in the ACC in every other sport. I could be wrong. I don't know if I just read that wrong or what, but at some point in time, Notre Dame has to make a decision, because what I do not like is they can come in and schedule whoever the hell they want. And when they schedule people, they scheduled A&M, okay, and they escaped with a win. But you're not going to see them schedule Alabama or a Georgia or Oregon or a Texas. I guess because they can't afford to lose. They can't afford to lose. And Notre Dame always drops a game that they shouldn't drop. Do they not join because they can pick their schedule and just beat the shit out of mediocre teams and sneak in at 6 or 7 and then get mollywopped? Or I think they have to join a conference. So college football needs to come back and be like, enough of this shit. You're in a conference or you're not playing.
No, I mean, I feel like the college football basically gave them an ultimatum, because if you think about it, like we had mentioned a little bit earlier in the SEC, Alabama's already lost an SEC conference game. Like, into an unranked Vanderbilt, who is on, again, the climb, but they can afford to lose a game and still be in contention for the SEC championship. If that were to happen to Notre Dame, if Notre Dame loses another game, and you know how the SEC will throw in some random non-conf game, whatever, and if they lose that game, that doesn't necessarily hurt Bama. Like, that's not going to go against their conference record. If Notre Dame loses 2 games throughout the season, there's no way they're able to recover and get back into the college football playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because they can't play.
They lost NIU.
Yeah.
They lost NIU.
And that's why they're at 12. Like, if the playoffs started today, they are the very last team to make it in, and they're one last team.
I just want to put this in perspective, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is just hypothetical. But say that you have your top 11 teams, and say, okay, we have Bama and Notre Dame at 1 loss, right? Say they're both at 1 loss. Just hypothetical. You're going to sit here and tell me that the committee, if Bama happens their one loss to be Vandy, who plays in the SEC, to where Notre Dame's one loss is NIU at home, Notre Dame's going to be left out of the playoffs because they don't play in a conference.
Yeah. No, that is a fair statement because I mean, like I said, they get one more loss, and that's basically all that they get, and that's it.
I don't know if they should be right now losing to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, well, see, I mean,
worse.
Again, that's where
that's everyone talks about how quote unquote Bama should be out because they lost to Vandy. Well, if that's the case, right? If people are going to sit here and saying that Bama shouldn't be in the playoffs because they lost to Vandy, and well, then you can't put Notre Dame in.
Yeah.
You can't. If Bama wins out and you do not put Bama in because they lost to Vandy, then you damn sure can't put Notre Dame in if they lost to Northern Illinois.
But and also got to look at too is, people can make all those arguments, but Vandy's still got some pretty good hard games coming up. And let's say they keep that game close with Texas or somehow pull out another win with Texas, and these other teams that they play, we can look at Vanderbilt being a top 10 team. If they win out, like they're at 26 right now is what we're predicting based on the votes that they've received. If they're at 26, if they're not that far outside the 25 and they win out, they could look at being a top 10 team by the end of the season.
They should be right now because honestly, they should be undefeated because their kickers cost them 2 games.
Yep.
Also fair enough. But before we let y'all go, that's kind of all that we had for y'all, but I did want to go back to the Daily Grind Fantasy Board, see what we're getting from there. Let me give this a quick refresh. I did drop another prize pick slip in there. Someone was going on a rant nonetheless about one of the topics that we were talking about. So I did drop a prize pick slip in there as well, but we do have another underdog slip that we can see if we can go ahead and build out. Let's see if this Trevor Lawrence play let's go Trevor Lawrence first, if we can go ahead and build it out. Now, again, if you don't know what Daily Grind Fantasy is, it is one. Let's see if this is even available first before I even start talking about it. Trevor Lawrence.
What's his play?
We're not seeing Trevor Lawrence under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Right now for Trevor Lawrence, all that I see for him is his passing yards total. So that play is still not up there. At least I am not seeing it, even when I click on his profile, which is okay. But all that this does for you is it's able to quickly scan the market, as you can see here. And I'll go over to Fliff because we've been talking about a lot of college football. Fliff is a little bit of a different sports book from daily fantasy sports apps like Prize Picks and like Underdogs. What they are is sweepstakes sports books, making it legal in 49 of the possible 50 states in America. And this is really good. If we look at Texas A&M versus Mississippi State this weekend, we can grab Texas A&M to win by 24.5 points. And why this is such a good bet. We are getting this at plus 265 on Fliff, but when we look across the rest of the market, we're getting an average of 205. We see FanDuel offering this line at 210, DraftKings offering this line at plus 201, meaning that if we were to drop $100, that's what these plus value odds are based off of. If we put $100 on DraftKings, we'd win $200. If we put $100 on Fliff, we'd win $265. That is nearly a $65 edge that we are getting if we were to take the same exact bet on Fliff. That's all positive expected value is basically saying which is the cheapest one. Which one am I going to get the most bang for my buck when I'm buying the exact same product, right? So that's what we can do with this Texas A&M versus Mississippi State. Parlay a couple of these together. You can even kind of do a little ladder system going Texas A&M minus 24.5, minus 25.5, dropping back down to minus 23.5. And if they were to hit all of those, you rocking and rolling, dude. You got it going. So that's all that it is. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter as well. All of our picks are posted there 100% free using Daily Grind Fantasy and some positive EV betting on top of correlation betting. So I wish that we had some more picks to share with y'all tonight, but a lot of college football talk for y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, please make sure that you have done that. It would be greatly appreciated. Drop a like in there as well. And we'll make sure to get some games involved for y'all so that way we can be a little bit more active in the chat and everything else. But again, thank y'all so much for anything, boys. Any last words before we hop off of here?
A pleasure around the pond.
No, it's been fun. I love talking about some college football, as always, and also find some slips with you guys. So let's hope they hit. We'll be tailing them. We'll be sweating them, and we'll see if we can make some money together.
Yoo-hoo. All right, ride the pine. See y'all later.